Hello and welcome to the Daily 180. I am Todd Wente, your host, and the Daily 180, 180 seconds of motivation and inspiration intended to help you take action and make progress in your life. Today, I am continuing our series on quotes that I am contemplating as I work my way through Tribe of Mentors. Again, I am looking at a quote by Max Levchin. And in this one, he says, he actually quotes Walt Disney. Whether or not this was actually Walt Disney or attributed to Walt Disney. Who knows? But it says Walt Disney, so I'm taking his word for it. It says the difference between winning and losing is most often not quitting. If you're like me, you probably, as soon as you read something like that, you go, okay, wait a second. When it comes to winning and losing, there are some situations where not quitting doesn't mean anything. For instance, if you happen to be the Russians, if you happen to be competing in the 1984 Olympics and you were the Russian team and you were competing against the American team, you lost and you ran out of time and it didn't make a difference as to whether or not you were quitting. Or you might say, hey, I'm watching a championship basketball game right now. And as I watch that, hey, good to see you, babe. As you're watching that, you might be saying, hey, no, wait a minute. Time runs out. It doesn't matter whether you quit or not. There's a winner, there's a loser. So, is this really what we want to talk about? Okay, well, granted, okay. You can throw those kinds of situations in there. And as I've been thinking about it, I come away with that with two answers in my head about this quote. The difference between winning and losing is most often not quitting. The first one would be to say, I think Walt Disney was talking about things in a much grander scale, in a much grander concept. Perhaps he was talking about winning or losing in the business of animation, but perhaps he was talking about winning and losing in the business of taking care of customers. Perhaps he was talking about winning and losing in business, period. And in those kinds of situations where there is no time limit on what's going on in those situations, except the finite time limit of death, then we don't quit. We're still in the game and we still have the possibility of winning. Losing only happens when you quit. But I think as I go through that, there is a second way of looking at this, and it applies directly to those situations where we're looking at games, where we're looking at those kinds of situations that I may have mentioned. And it has to do with the mental state that we are in when we believe that there's still chance. See, I've seen some teams that play right up to the very last minute, and they believe that there's still a chance that they can win, and they play differently than teams that have given up in their heads. The difference between winning and losing is most often not quitting. Sometimes it's even in our heads. So the takeaway and the challenge that I have for you today is if there is something that is really important to you that you're working at, make a commitment to yourself that you're not going to quit until you get the results that you are looking for. And I think that all of us will be amazed at the results we get. Upbeat Babe is thinking about it too. Hopefully, the rest of you find some value in that as well. If this has been useful, share the video with people as much as you possibly can. We can always have more people join us on our tribe. Hit the bell to be hit the button to be reminded, the bell to subscribe, or the button to subscribe, the bell to be reminded. And as I always say, this has been the Daily 180. My name is Todd Wente. Nullum diem. We'll see you next time.